this motherfucker chilling. Tell me why. Hold it real quick. Bro, I done thought this shit was crack for a little bit.
It's my shit.
What the fuck? she got a fucking, what is this, gel?
No, babe, it's my creamer.
In a fucking sack? This bitch is some crack. Look at this shit. When it's a sunny day, nigga. When it's a sunny day, you gotta get your motherfucking car washed, man. It's a guarantee. You already know what's going on, man. Young old ass nigga.
With the cook.
Yeah, let me get some of that. YouTube, what up? Hey, right now we got All Eyes on Me in 9 minutes, featuring Gully Boy. Not Prim Hill Cinema, but Gully Boy. The reason why I'm really doing this, to be completely honest, is the All Eyes on Me that Prim did before I started making YouTube content. Like right before I started making YouTube content, I used to watch Prim, and All Eyes on Me was one of the ones that I reacted to. I watched. So I couldn't react to it because that would be unauthentic, and I ain't about that. So I'ma give Gully's boy take on it, and he the next big thing, you know what I'm saying, in regards to doing this type of shit. Of course Prim is the best to me, and then right after him is so shout out to Gully Boy. You know what I'm saying, keep working. But All Eyes on Me, I remember that shit was coming. I think that shit came out like 2018 or 2017. One of them, but I remember just being so hyped for it because, in my opinion, Tupac is the GOAT. And then right after him, like it's like a 1A and 1B. 1A is Pac, and 1B to me is Lil Wayne, but whatever. But I was so disappointed by this motherfucking movie, bro. To this day, I watched the shit in the theater. You know what I'm saying? Like back when it first came out, I went and took somebody out there, we watched the shit. And I remember just getting out there, leaving the theater just disappointed, bro. So. It got some funny moments and shit like that, but we're gonna go ahead and react to this shit. And if y'all like the video, man, like the video, comment, subscribe. I finally got me a tripod and shit, so no more of that bullshit I was doing, like the angle and shit. So let's go ahead and get into this shit, man, straight up.
I've ever seen. We all know how iconic the late great Tupac was. Not only was he an extremely talented rap artist and actor, he was also an activist. If you've ever seen a Tupac interview, then you know his presence was like no other. And that's just me speaking on looking at him through a lens. I'm pretty sure his presence was even more powerful in person. All these factors is what makes him a very difficult person to portray on film. Also knowing that this film was made without the approval of
I want to say this one last thing. He's saying the realest shit. Like people always try to compare people to Tupac. Like people try to compare Young Boy to Tupac. Like you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like Tupac was more than a rapper. He was an activist first, I feel like. And the way he was gonna infiltrate it to relate to all the niggas out there, he had to do what he had to do. Some people like to call him out and say he wasn't really like that. He got killed doing some stupid shit. You can feel that way or you can't, but I feel like that nigga just was a sacrificial pawn, just like how Malcolm and Martin Luther King was. Like they had to die in order to kind of show, trying to uplift the black community. You just gotta think about this shit on a deeper level. I think that shit on a deeper level when it comes to Pac. Like, a lot of people be like, man, he ain't do that much. He ain't sold nothing in the streets. He ain't, you know what I mean? But it's deeper than that for me. Even if that may be true.
Of his mother.
But that don't take my love away from Pac, period. Like, that shit don't faze me.
Afeni Shakur. You just know that this is going to be a disaster. And to add a little more fuel to the fire, John Sink, knowing that this film was made without the approval of his mother, Afeni Shakur. You just know that this is going to be a disaster. And to add a little more fuel to the fire, John Singleton also stated that the makers of this film sued Afeni Shakur in order to get the rights to Tupac's story. Man, if I'm being honest, we could pack this shit up right now. But I ain't gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna share with you guys what I didn't like about the film. First and foremost, I must
She
address
crazy.
Demetrius Shipp Jr., which is the actor that plays Tupac. His only redeeming factor is that he looks like Tupac. That's literally it. When I said Anthony Mackie was a better Tupac than this dude, I wasn't trolling. By this being a film about one of the most iconic people to ever exist, Demetrius doesn't do him justice at all. Scenes that show how passionate Pac was about his art and message seem very forced. This movie also did a poor job on developing where he got that passion from. A perfect example of this was when he was recording the classic track Brenda's Got a Baby.
This is my music. I don't want this shit polished. I want it raw. Now stack that shit.
Like, if I was the engineer, I would have had to pack off on him and tell him to calm his goofy ass down. Now, I know what they tried to do here. Do y'all remember the popular scene in the movie Hustle and Flow where DJ isn't satisfied with Suge's singing vocals? After a few takes of her vocals not sounding right, he'll ferociously tell her to push that shit out.
Bitches jumping shit.
I don't fight for myself. I fight for my team.
Push that shit out.
The reason why
Talk
this
to
scene
him.
works so well is because up until this point, you saw how passionate DJ was about becoming a rapper and telling his story through his music. With All Eyez on Me, this sense of build-up is completely missing. This film has a weird habit of shifting through events quickly. The film starts off with Pac being interviewed in prison. He'll tell the interviewer about his upbringing, which consisted of him being raised in a single-parent household, as his father was always on the run because of his affiliation with the Black Panther Party. His mother was also affiliated with the Black Panthers, and it's safe to say that this is where Pac gained his activist traits. But there isn't a single scene in this movie that shows how he fell in love with music. Instead, the film just jumps to when he moved to Baltimore and attended a performing arts school with the Entanglement Queen. He'll recite a poem to her.
Oh God.
You are the omega of my heart, the foundation for my conception of love.
Then right after this, he'll move to the Bay Area, which will quickly lead to him meeting up with Shock G, which brings us back to the studio where he's recording Brenda's Got a Baby. So all this acting passionate about his music doesn't work at all in this movie. Another thing that doesn't work is when they recreate Pac's iconic music videos and performances. The worst recreation by far is Brenda's Got a Baby, but I don't even think I could call it that because they didn't even recreate it. They just used a portion of the real music video instead.
Now the baby's in the trash ball.
Oh man.
Can't help her, but it hurts to hear her calling.
Why am I looking at the real Tupac? This is just unacceptable in my opinion. Now it's kind of crazy that
I ain't watched this shit in so long. Like I ain't watched All Eyez on Me probably in over like 3 years, probably longer than that. I'm gonna keep it real.
the New Edition biopic
I'm
came out
keeping it
before
real,
this film.
man.
And the reason why I say this is because this film set the standard for recreating iconic events. This movie had full-out performances for classic New Edition tracks. Now, how dope would it have been if they recreated the music video for Brenda's Got a Baby? They should have took some serious notes. The recreation for I Get Around was atrocious. Remember how lit Tupac was in this video? That boy was
God.
dancing all over the place. Here he's just in the tub the entire time. I mean, he was in the tub in the original video, but it wasn't for the whole duration.
Back to get wrecked. All respect to those who break their neck to keep their hopes in check. Cause oh, they
Man, that's crazy. I like how he pointing that shit out. You know what I'm saying?
sweat a brother majorly.
Now, I know there's gonna be some people that's gonna say that I'm nitpicking, and you can believe that. I just want it better for
That's how you gotta be for Pac, man. Like, yeah, technically he is nitpicking, but as passionate as Pac was, his fans is even more passionate on how people portray him and compare him. I mean, it only makes sense, right? That's logical.
Pac because he absolutely deserves it. Another
Exactly.
terrible recreation was the iconic scene in
Okay, that
Juice
nigga
where
said the dude who act this Tupac, he said, I don't give a fuck. Like, he said that shit weird as
to
fuck.
catch his cue lacking at school.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about Steel. I don't give a fuck about Raheem either. I don't give a fuck about myself.
Yeah, y'all get the point. These recreations are bundles of ass cheeks. It feels like I'm watching somebody do a bad YouTube parody of Tupac moments. They also fumbled the bag greatly by not recreating the California Love music video, because that video was crazy, and it was also very iconic. Not that they would have did it justice anyway, I'm just saying. But speaking on California Love, when he's recording the track in this film, Demetrius has a weird habit of ferociously bouncing up and down.
Bail fresh out of jail, California dream. Chuck's not Valley. Yeah, that's right. Dressed in loafs and khaki suits and bodies.
Like, what the fuck is happening? Boy look about goofy than a bitch. Another thing that completely kills this movie for me is its entertainment factor. Now, I already gave plenty examples on how the recreations aren't entertaining. Another thing that sucks about this film is the progression of the story. The dialogue is bad and it's just boring. About 30 minutes in, and I wanted the movie to be over with. The 2-hour and 14-minute runtime is very dreadful. To make a long story short, the film constantly tries to capture Pac's passion and fails every time. The interview portion is supreme cringe, as it feels like you're watching a movie on Lifetime. One scene in particular is when the interviewer asks Tupac about his misogynist lyrics. This is where Keep Your Head Up plays, and Pac gives a random woman $1.
But please don't cry, dry your eyes, never let up. Forgive, but don't forget, girl, keep your head up.
Yeah, movie, that really shows his love for women. Jamal Woolard reprises his role as Biggie, but even he can't save this film. Of course, they do their little meetup, which leads to Pac getting shot for the first time at Quad Studios. When Pac hears the Biggie song Who Shot You on the Yard, Clifton Powell comes out of nowhere and checks some dudes that are bumping the track.
Turn the motherfucking music down. Talking to, homie. I'm talking to you, nigga. Turn that fucking music down.
Like, what is happening? But one thing that I will give this movie credit for is how they focused on how Pac will begin to go down a dark path. The film shows how he started to associate himself with bad people, and although Suge Knight was there for him when nobody else was, it didn't mean he had to beat niggas up like Suge did. But to be perfectly honest, he was already on that type of time, and I truly believe that after he played the role of Bishop in Juice, it changed his mental state on some Lord Avery II shit. But that's a conversation for another time. This would then lead to another attempt of them trying to recreate an iconic event, which was Pac's performance at the House of Blues in 1996. First off, they have the tracks playing with Pac's voice, but what's weird is that you can hear Demetrius rapping the songs, but the real song is overpowering his terrible rap vocals.
Biggie Smalls and Junior Mafia, some mark-ass bitches.
Oh, man.
For your dudes that he gonna keep on busting at them fools.
The real House of Blues performance
man.
wasn't like this at all. You could hear Pac rapping his verses clearly, not some mumbling jumbling bullshit. There is also a huge mess up during this scene as well. During this performance, Pac performs the track Hail Mary, which wasn't even released yet.
I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest joy next to getting pussy.
You would think that the filmmakers wouldn't make this mistake, but what do we really expect from people who made this film without his mother's permission? But before his performance at the House of Blues, of course Suge would bail him out and he'll sign to Death Row Records. Of course the movie has to show Suge beating up people and acting reckless. One scene that shouldn't even be in the movie in my opinion is when Suge finds out that one of his employees is stealing money. He'll torture him by shoving food in his face.
There you go. Eat good. Eat that shit. How's it taste?
And this scene just goes on forever. Snoop Dogg is portrayed in this movie, and I can't tell if this is a voiceover or if this dude actually sounds like Snoop Dogg.
You already know this is that gangster party, cuz. Man, Puff and Big, they my homeboys.
I'ma just say it's a voiceover, because there is no way. I honestly feel bad for the people that actually paid money to see this nonsense in theater.
Oh God, I remember what I had on. I had my fake Cartiers on, Cartier glasses. I had a plaid button up, like from, you know, all the way down here, a plaid polo shirt with a white tee, and a gold plated chain Jesus piece I had, and you know, some rock jeans, some forces. Man, I was clean in the bitch. I'm like, man, I gotta show up for Pac, man. That bitch was packed, but that shit was so trash.
There's a ton of other things I can pick apart about the movie, but I'ma just wrap it up here. We all know how the movie's gonna end, and when it does end, you would have thought that Tyler Perry produced this.
Can you tell me why, tell me why.
Bro, what is this stage play ass music? Get this nonsense off my screen. Nah, but on some real shit, this movie is 100% ass in my opinion. It's boring and the acting is horrible. It was a complete disservice to a legend. Now, I know that there's gonna be lovers of this film in the comment section.
Hell no.
If you like this film, please believe that I'm not trying to convince you that this film is...
Man, let me see who like this shit. Oh God, bro, right here, he ain't lying. This is a good point right here. I seen this movie in theater and was just confused on why they told us a bunch of shit we already knew about Pac. I left the theater, nothing but, boy, for real. And I had a Pac CD that I bought from the gas for the Blunt House over there on God Springs and Southwest. But anyways, if y'all like the video, man, like the video, comment, subscribe, and if y'all want some more Gully or Prime Hood Cinema, just like the video, man. It's that simple. I'm gonna rock with y'all in the next video, bro. I'm out of here.